Hi everyone, Letty here, Party Planner Papery. I have another Paper Stash Smash video. This is Echo Park's I Love Halloween. It's a crafty tutorial using 12 by 12. It's a no scrap template. Welcome back everyone. So I'm participating in hashtag Paper Stash Smash this year. And our goal for this month, October, is to smash 12 by 12s. So I had just recently purchased this I Love Halloween by Echo Park in the most recent Echo Park warehouse sale. I do have a little video where I show what I hauled from that little warehouse sale. I'll link it at the very end if you want to check it out. But I am basically going to try to smash this pad real quick. We are a few days before the middle part of October, and my goal, and I'm just barely starting this one, but my goal is to try to make some really quick projects, and I think I have just the project to do so. So I'm hoping to really kind of go through this pretty quickly. So again, this one's called I Love Halloween. It's designed by Lori Whitlock and it's manufactured by Echo Park. 12 double-sided sheets. You have a sticker sheet and lots of cut aparts. Let me go ahead and show you what comes in this pack. So we do have some cut aparts. These are the 3x4s. These are super cute. I love the colors in this. I love the pop of the purple and the lime green. Super fun. Here is the back of that one. Super, super cute. And then we also have some 4x4 cut aparts, and these are also super fun. This almost has a little bit more of like a kitty, like a kid related sort of theme or kind of fashion. And I think that's probably because it was designed by Lori Whitlock. So she does a little bit more like kind of kid-centric sort of images. So everything looks, it doesn't look like scary, it just looks kind of cute. So I think that's probably why. And so this one actually has a bunch of weird random sizes on the cut apart. Sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes it's a little harder to use, but I like this little spider background as well, the spider web. Then we have some 4x6s, and these are great like for your mini albums and things like that. And then we have some really fun like little potion bottles and elixir bottles, tonics. Super, super fun. Then we have another sort of mixed cut aparts. You also have some like pendants, some little sentiments, bunch of different sizes. Now you could use it as a regular sheet, or you could use it as a whole bunch of cut aparts. Look at this, free flying lessons. That's cute. And then, but this plaid is really cute. So I think I probably will end up using this plaid instead of the other cut aparts. You've got some non-scary like little witches with some little cats, bunch of little like Halloween images on that one. And then a really good sort of like kind of gingham orange plaid. That's a good one. And then we've got some jack-o'-lanterns. This might be the scariest page so far that I've seen. But we also have a black and white gingham, which is going to be great as well for this collection. I like all the like plaids and things in this collection. This is super fun. This sometimes is a little harder to use though, because the image is so large. It's kind of hard. Like if you were going to cut a little mat, sometimes that really wouldn't make like a ton of sense. But let's see what the back is. Oh, the back is like almost like a graph paper, but it's not really. It sort of has like these little rectangles, almost like I guess like a woven grid maybe, but it does look cute. Kind of reminds me of like a Cricut mat. Super funny. And then we have some little ghosts. This one's really cute with the stars. I like that. And then we've got some little wonky stars here in this real fun green pattern. We've got some cute bats, and it's funny because their eyes are not the same size, so they kind of look really, really wonky there. Super fun. They're cute. And then you've got some stripes. That's a good one. I like this. It's black background with the stars. Love that. That's super cute. And then you've got some really fun candy. I hate that they put two like really cute patterns back to back, but that's okay. We'll figure out what we're gonna do. So you've got some candy patterns, and then you've got some somewhat little spooky spiders here with some weird eyeballs and a little creepy. And then you do have some cute little kids in costumes. So that's super fun. And then of course, these 12 by 12 collection kits usually do also come with a cardstock sticker sheet. Here is the sticker sheet for the I Love Halloween collection. You get a couple of strips here, almost like washi strips, a lot of images, and you do have a few sentiments. So that is what came in this collection. So I am going to kind of work behind the scenes a little bit and see if I can figure out what projects I want to do. I have some in mind. I'm going to sort of chalk it through with my members. I have some behind the scene videos that I normally film for them. So I think I'm going to try to break down this pad a little bit more, and then I'll come back in just a few and I'll do a full recap, maybe a tutorial, but definitely a full recap. So let's see what we end up making with this I Love Halloween by Echo Park. Okay, so a little over a week ago on World Card Making Day, I introduced a little tutorial for a A2 size Gatefold gift card holder card. And I said it was going to be your new favorite card. And let me tell you, it has been my new favorite card. I did use 6x6 paper when I introduced it that time, or that, you know, on that video. And because for hashtag Paper Stash Smash, we are using 12x12s. I figured that this collection would be a great one to try to make some Halloween gift card holders in that same style. And so I've gone ahead and I've already made some of these. And so this is what it looks like. It's an A2 size gift card holder. You've got a spot here for your gift card. What I love about this card is, yes, it holds a gift card, but even if you didn't want to use it for a gift card holder, the recipient likely would not know that there's a pocket right here because it's pretty hidden. So even if you just used it just like that, I think it would definitely work. Of course, we know that there's a pocket there. So if you do want to include a gift card, or maybe, you know, like some cash, or if you're sending it to a crafty friend, you want to include some ephemera or stickers, die cuts, whatever, you've got a little pocket right here. But again, in theory, you could use it just as is and just use it as a regular card. So I've figured out a way that we can cut down this 12x12 paper and make 2 cards. And the best part about that is that there's no scraps at the end. So you'll make 2 whole cards that look similar to this. Of course, depending on your patterns, right? But you'll make 2 cards and not have any scraps at all. So this is officially a no scrap template, using 12x12, making 2 of these A2 size gatefold cards, the gift card holder cards. So I think that's super fun. I did a little like run through with my YouTube members. I sort of like broke down the paper and I was explaining what I wanted to try to do, and I went through and have already, again, that's where I was able to make these, so I know that this works. So let me go ahead and show you. Let's go ahead and cut down this paper. I'm going to show you how to cut down your paper. And then what I'll do is I'll finish assembling. I'll try to see if I can assemble at least one on camera for you, just in case you missed that other video. If you have a lot of 6x6 in your stash, I highly encourage you to check it out. I'll have it linked at the very end of this video, probably like somewhere right here. But I will go ahead and show you how to cut on your paper, your 12x12, and make this type of card. So what we're going to do first is, so we have this one has an orientation. It's a double-sided paper, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the top to the right one time. And by the way, I've already cut off the branding strip at the bottom. So with the top to the right, we're going to go ahead and put it in our trimmer, and we're going to cut it at 5 1/4, 5 1/4. Okay, so it's going to look like this, 5 1/4 by 12. Now, with what's left over, I'm going to do the exact same cut one more time. So it looks like I'm just making a whole bunch of A2 size mats, but I'm going to show you how we're actually going to cut our paper down in just a second. So cut it at 5 1/4 again, and you're left with a 1.5 inch strip. Okay, so you've got 2 of these panels that are 5 1/4 high by 12 inches wide. Okay, so what we're going to do, go ahead and put one of them aside. What we're going to do is we're going to get 2 of our A2 size mats from this one sheet, or this one strip. So on the 12-inch side, now the top is back at the top. We're going to go ahead and cut it at 4 inches. Okay, so that is one A2 size mat. This is the mat that goes right here on the inside panel of your Gatefold gift card holder here, just like that. So that's one. We're going to need one more. So let's go ahead and take that same piece we were working with, and let's cut one more segment at 4 inches. Okay, so now we have a second one. So here are our 2. Okay, again, those are the large mats that go on the inside. We're making 2 cards. That means we've already done this piece. Now what we need are these panels that are on these flaps for the gatefold, okay? And these are 2 inches by 5 1/4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one last mat. I'm not going to put it as a completed mat. I need this to complete all the strips that I have. So I'm going to take this third piece, and I'm gonna cut it in half on the 4-inch side. So again, top to top, we're gonna cut it at 2 inches. And these are gonna be our little gatefold flaps. So let me just put it over here on the side. That's it for now. Now for the rest of this pattern paper, we're gonna take it again on the 12-inch side. And basically what I'm gonna do, because I know I need 4 of these 2-inch strips for each card, and I'm making 2 cards, I need 8 total. Well, this is 12 inches. So if I cut this in 2-inch segments by 5 1/4, I'm gonna get 6 of them from this one. I already have 2 for right here. That's gonna be the 8 panels that I need for these 2 cards. So I'm just gonna start cutting this down into strips of 2 inches. But what I'm gonna do is just make it easier on myself. I'm gonna cut it down into segments of 4 again, and then just cut that in half. So 4 inches, 4 inches and 4 inches. And then now I'm gonna go ahead and cut this in half at 2 inches. Here's 2 more strips. Here's 2 more. We're at 6 now, but I'm gonna cut these final 2. And that will make our 8 strips. Okay, so now we've already made our 2 large mats, right? Let me move this out of the way. We've made our 2 large mats. We've made 2, 4, 6, 8 of these strips that are gonna go on here. So we've accounted for this piece, this piece, this piece, this piece, and this piece back here. This was just a white mat that I brought in. This was, of course, stickers. Now this little piece right here, we're gonna be getting it from this panel right here, because look at that, it's perfect, 1.5 inches. So we're gonna cut this down, and that'll be the last piece there. And then to finish this off, you just bring in a cardstock mat, which this mat right here is 3 1/4 by 4 1/4, okay? And then you bring in a cut apart, and the cut apart is 3 inches by 4 inches. Now, most of your 12 by 12 collections are gonna come with that 3 by 4 cut apart. I showed the full collection just a second ago, and you saw that I had those 3 by 4s. These are the ones that came with the collection. When you run out, you can just cut down some additional paper. You could add this as a sentiment, put a white mat and stamp and do some coloring. You've got a lot of options with that. But that's basically all of the paper that we need. So the last little bit is just this little strip right here. The dimensions for this piece right here are 1.5 by 4 inches. So the fact that this is a 1.5 by 12, that makes it perfect to then cut this down into segments of 4 inches, because it's already 1.5. So I'm going to cut it at 4 inches, and that's one panel. Okay. And then I'm going to cut it one more time at 4 inches. And that's a second panel. Now that is all we need for our, 2 cards. Okay. This is everything we're going to use. Now, because I have this one little strip left and I don't want any scraps, what I did, and this was totally optional, but what I did was I cut this in half. So this is 1.5. I cut it at 3/4 of an inch from this side. And I basically put one little extra strip on the inside right here on top of my white mat. And that finished out everything without any scraps at all. Okay. So I'm just going to cut this in half on this shorter side. I'm going to cut it in half at 3/4 of an inch. And I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm going to eyeball it and then cut it in about half. And here are our 2 panels that are going to go on the insides of our 2 cards. So those are all of the cuts. Let me just kind of go through it all one more time. So you take your 12 by 12, you take off the branding strip, okay? And what you're gonna do is you're gonna first turn it with the top to the right. You're gonna cut it at 5 1/4, okay? Then you're gonna cut it one more time at 5 1/4, okay? You'll be left with a 1.5 inch strip, and then you'll have a 5 1/4 inch strip by 12 and a 5 1/4 by 12 also. So you're gonna have 2 of these big strips. With these 2 big strips at the bottom, what you're gonna do is you're basically gonna cut them into segments of 4 inches, and 2 of them you're not gonna cut any further. You're gonna save them as your large mat to go into the inside of your actual card itself, okay? Then with all the rest of it, you can still cut it down into the 4-inch panels, but then you're gonna cut it in half at 2 inches to get 8 little strips that are 2 by 5 1/4, because those 4 panels for each card are going to go on the gatefold itself, on the little flaps, okay? Then with the 1.5 inch strip that's left at the very top, what we're going to do is we're going to cut it at 4 inches twice, to get this little panel right here, this little segment that's for this flap that goes behind our cut apart. With the last little strip, you could technically use it as a scrap, or what I did was I cut it in half at 3/4 by 4 inches. And that is what I'm going to go ahead and put on the inside of my card to finish off the embellishment here. And of course, to not have any scraps at all. So that is how you cut your paper. We're going to make 2 of these cards. What I'm going to do, because I've already done a tutorial where I show you how to put the card together. All the pieces are exactly the same, except for this little scrap that's extra. Otherwise, it's all the same. What I'm going to do is I'm going to finish cutting the rest of my papers down. I'm going to prep all of the rest of them. I'll save one card to make on camera with you. We'll make that one card and then I'll come back for a full recap. So let me go ahead and finish assembling the rest of the cards. I'll come back and we'll make one together. Okay, let's go ahead and assemble our card. I have everything laid out here to go ahead and make this card. Here is again what the card's gonna look like. You open it up, you've got a pocket over here for the gift card holder, for the gift card. You've got a place to write, you've got some pretty paper, and then I did finish it off with some stickers. Okay, so this is our A2 Gatefold card, gift card holder. So I have a card base, and the card base is just 8.5 by 5.5, and it's scored at 2 1/8 on both sides. That's all it is. You flip it and score it on 2 1/8 on both sides. I do have my larger mat, and the larger mat is 4 inches wide by 5 1/4. And then I just brought in a little white die cut mat from my stash. You could use any size, anything smaller than this larger mat. You could even just do a little square. I was thinking for Halloween, you could even do like a little star. You could fussy cut out like a little ghost and make like a little ghost mat. You've got lots of options, but I already had these cut, so I went ahead and just used them. I have actually already glued this together, so I'm gonna end up skipping that step, but they are 2 separate pieces. And then you have 4 strips, and these are 2 inches by 5 1/4, and these are the ones that go on your actual flaps for the gatefold. I have one extra little piece that's 1.5 tall, or actually it's 1.5 wide by 4 inches tall, and that's gonna go back here when we do the little flap. And then I had one little extra scrap, and this would have technically been the only scrap left over, but because I don't want any scraps, we're making this a no scrap template. I'm gonna add this to the inside of my card, and I'm gonna put it somewhere like right there, okay? And then of course you're gonna need something to decorate. So we've got a 3x4 cut apart with some holographic cardstock. You can use any kind of cardstock. You could even use the same color cardstock that you did for your base. The cardstock mat is 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. Now, I actually did run out of cut aparts, so this is actually not a true cut apart. I had brought in some additional sheets from my stash, and it was a Simple Stories collection. At the very end, I'll show you which one it was. I just used one of the stickers. I layered it on some black cardstock, which is what I use for my foundations, and then I added the mat. So I actually had to make my own cut apart because I totally ran out. The collection only came with 12, but I made more than 12 cards. So here's what that looks like. So that's everything we're going to be using. Let's go ahead and assemble this, and I'll do a full final recap. So I'm going to start with this larger mat, and I had mentioned that I wasn't a big fan of this kind of paper, so I ended up using the green side. I just felt like once I put it down, if I put the white mat, you weren't going to really see anything. You might have seen, I guess, the little spiders, but so I'm going to start to glue, and I am going to go ahead and start with this mat right on the inside, and I'm going to try to center it as best as I can. So let me get my glue. Okay, so just like that. Now, I have my 4 strips, and I need 2 for the inside and 2 for the outside. What I want to do, and this is just kind of the thought process behind what I've been doing, I check my cut apart and I sort of figure out how I want to lay it out to where it'll look good with my cut apart. For instance, one of these, I think it was this one, already has like a plaid, a gingham pattern. So I just did not think that these 2 competing sort of plaids were going to work. So that one was definitely going to go on the inside. When I do this one, I end up getting, which is okay because you can kind of see here, but I end up losing some of these cute little guys here, little mummies. So I did decide like this one would be a good one. And then this one was really the only other option I had. Now the back is from the back of the cut aparts. So I'm going to need to use this for the front. But if you look at this, if I do it like this, you only get stars. If I do it like this, you actually get the little bottles. So I'm gonna make sure to put this on the right-hand side. So I have everything kind of laid out. I'm gonna do these 2 on the inside, those 2 on the outside. And again, that's how I figure it out. I try to see what's gonna look best with my little decorative element, which is my cut apart. So let me go ahead and glue these. And again, when I glue the inside, I wanna try to glue as close to the score, like the fold, as possible, but right on the outside of it. So that way my borders are even all the way around. So let me glue the 2 inside first. Okay, so there are the inside panels. Now I'm going to decorate the outside. And for the outside, I know I had said that I want to do this one on the right. Normally what I do is I try to make sure it's going to look okay when I have one flap open, and I think this will work perfectly anyway, so it kind of just works out. When I am gluing the 2 strips on the outside, the glue placement is a little different. On these, I go all the way to the edge of the mat, and that's just my personal preference, and then of course center it. And I do that so that way I don't have any gap right here in the middle. When I do lay down both of these mats, it's going to be touching, and so I don't have a gap. If I was to center these on the actual front gates, like the actual panels, then you would end up having a black strip right in the middle, and I just don't like the look of that as much as I like the way that they're two completely close together. So that's totally up to you. That's just my little personal preference and what I was doing as far as the back behind the scene kind of thing, my thought process on it. So, but glue them any which way you want. So I'm going to add these to the front. Okay, so my fronts are glued, my insides are glued here, the inside mats, everything's ready to go. Now let's go ahead and finish out the rest of this. So I've got my cut apart. Ordinarily, you would glue your cut apart to your mat and have that ready to go. I did mention this in, I think, my video with my members. I'm not sure if I mentioned it with you guys, but if for some reason you don't like the back color of this, which we're gonna cover most of it with a pattern paper, but you see how you see a little bit of that brown, which is the back of the holographic cardstock that I'm using. If you don't like that, now is the time where you're going to want to add another black matte or whatever color foundation you use. Add that to the back of this one, which is 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. Glue that down completely. That way, when you glue this shut, this will already have a black border here after you add this. So, but I don't really mind. I'm going to leave it as is. I did all the rest of them just like this. What we're going to do now is just sort of center this right on the front, the way that it should be going. I'm doing even borders on all sides. I'm going to put my thumb and my finger at the top and bottom where it ends. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my glue to the top and bottom, as well as to the innermost side, the one that's closest to me, closest to my palm. And I'm going to put a pretty good chunk of glue there. You can kind of see that. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue it, add it, drop it down to the center of the card where I want it, being very careful that I stay as close to the center as possible because of all that glue. And then I'm going to open it briefly and just make sure I don't have any spillage, and it looks like we're good there. I'm going to just press it down and let that glue dry. Somebody had asked me in a previous video which bottle I'm using. So I use Lineco glue. It is a PVA glue, archival safe. I have a link down below, but the bottle that I use is an old Barely Arts glue. So I did use Barely Arts for a while, and I absolutely love the glue. It's just, it got to the point where it was too pricey. And so I did switch to the Lineco, and the Lineco, ironically enough, is getting more and more pricey as things go on with, everything that's happening in the economy. But it has gotten a little pricier over the years, but I still feel that it's cheaper or more affordable than some of the other ones. And so this is just a recycled Barely Art bottle glue. So, in case somebody was wondering that. And it works really well. I was crafting with Toby one time, Bitty Penny, and she borrowed my glue, and she was like, "Oh, wow, this is nice." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, because I've been using it for years. I cleaned it out, and then so it has like a lot of wear and tear on that rubber of the bottle. Anyway, or the plastic. Okay, so now on the inside, we're gonna go ahead and add our strip. Now, I try to make sure that I have a different pattern, which I only have one option because this is the back of like a cut apart, but I'm gonna go ahead and glue this down. And the way that I glue it is basically all the way up until the actual edge of our card flap right there. So I'm going to glue it right here and leave an even border all the way around. And again, if you didn't like that mismatch of color, you can just always bring in an extra mat. Or if you are cutting your mats from the same cardstock that you use for your foundation, then that solves that problem because you'll already have a matching color. But I wanted to use holographic for this, so I figured it really didn't matter what the back looked like for me. But if you are someone who looks at those little details and you really want it to coordinate, definitely you can change it up as well. Okay, I have one little strip left. This was, again, our little scrap, but I'm going to go ahead and add this in. And I think what I want to do on this is I'm going to glue it all the way to the bottom. So I want to try to mix and match my patterns again. So I'm not going to use the little witchy side. I'm going to use that orange sort of like gingham side, the little plaid. I'm going to use that side. So let's go ahead and just glue it down. And this is exactly the length of the inside mat, which is 4 inches. It's just like 4 inches by 3/4 of an inch. Okay, and that is our card. Now, if you did not have stickers, this would be the end of it. You could always embellish the front. You could always, you know, add a stamp sentiment right here. You can do whatever you want, or even some stamped images. I do have the sticker sheet, and let me tell you, I am on the last sticker. I saved one sticker. I even cut down the little strips. Like, I used all of it. I even used the name up here. It says, I think, like, I love Halloween or something. I used every bit of this sticker sheet except for the one sticker, which I'm planning on using now. So I'll show you that in a second. You'll be able to see all the insides of my cards in just a second when I do the recap. I'm going to add a little bit of wet glue, more for me than for anything else. I do like to make sure that when I make my cards, everything is super sturdy. I use plenty of glue. I use plenty of foam dimensional tape. But aside from just the like durability of it, I also like that the wet glue gives me an extra couple seconds of movement. So I get like an extra second to move it. And I think I'm going to just go ahead and place it there. I'm not too concerned. But again, if I wanted to move it, I would literally have a few seconds of, or maybe a second of being able to wiggle it because of the glue that's on the outside layer of the sticker, like right on under it. Okay, so that is our super cute card. Again, you could stamp a sentiment right here, but otherwise here is our gift card holder, A2 size gatefold card, or A2 gatefold gift card holder card. Again, here is where that gift card would be. I'll take the one, I'll borrow this one. And here is where it would look. So super, super fun. Okay, so stay tuned. I'm gonna go ahead and come in right now and I'll do a full recap of what all of my cards look like. Okay, so to recap, I used up the I Love Halloween 12 by 12 paper pad designed by Lori Whitlock, released by Echo Park. I had purchased this in a recent Echo Park warehouse sale. They have them every month. In fact, they might even be having one right now while you're watching this. If not, give a couple weeks and they'll have another one. But I had picked this one up. They had a really good deal. I ended up smashing this, and the only paper I had left were the branding strips that come at the bottom of the 12 by 12 sheet. So you cut these off, and ordinarily you'll just trash them, recycle them. Sometimes you can go ahead and cut down and use these little strips of pattern paper. It's like a sampling of what the paper is. I usually will try to use them, but in today's project, since I was mostly doing like a no scrap template, with this paper pad, in fact, that's the only thing I did was a no scrap template. I didn't have any scraps, and so I had already kind of used up all of the paper that came in the like on the sheet. I had already used it up completely and already added like little strips to the insides of my cards and stuff. So I just didn't have a good way to utilize this. I could technically probably cut them all down, make one scrap card, but I want to keep rolling along. I did also bring in one sheet of 12 by 12 by Simple Stories, and it was for some more cut aparts, and it's the Say Cheese Halloween. This is an older collection. I don't know if it gives me the year. 2019, so much, much older. Let me see if I can have it focus. I don't know if you can see that, but it's 2019. Okay. And so you do get, again, a little sampling of the paper, but I didn't use this, but I did use the cut aparts, and I did use that as like the back on some of them as well to make more cut aparts. So on the sticker sheet, you probably saw just now, I ended up using every single sticker. Including these strips at the bottom, I cut them up and added them in. I also even used the like name, the brand or the name of the collection that's usually right here in this corner. I used that for one of my cards as well. I'll show you that in a second. So this was definitely a great smash, because not only did I have no stickers left over, I had no paper left over, and I made a ton of cards. So let me go ahead and show you what my actual cards look like. Okay, so I think I got 22 total cards out of this paper collection, or this paper pack, this 12 by 12. Now, all of these are A2 size gatefold gift card holders. So it's a gatefold because it has these two panels. You open it up and it's got a pocket for the gift card right there. So it is a gift card holder. You got a place to write, some pretty patterned paper, and I did decorate with the stickers on the inside. I did not decorate the back, but again, I was able to make this a no scrap template, so you can always do that as well. Again, I think I got 22 of these. I did have some that had vertical, in fact, the majority, if not all of them, had vertical cut aparts like this, and so everything was going like top to bottom. But I had one card that actually had a horizontal cut apart, and so I just adjusted and I did it the exact same way. And we have a card layout that's more horizontal than vertical. So you still have a pocket here for your gift card holder, your gift card. You still have a place to write. And I was even able to use up some of these long like words in the sticker sheet that I never really get to. I thought that was really good. So that one is, again, a horizontal version, but it's still a gift card holder all the same. Here is the one that we just made. So you can see that. Okay. And then the rest of these are the ones that I made either off camera or with my members. I did do a little like before the tutorial, like before the video tutorial with my members. And so I do have YouTube memberships. And so that was one of the perks for them, is they get to see a lot of the behind the scenes when I'm making these projects. And so that's exactly what I did. I was sort of like, I had kind of mapped out what this sketch was going to look like as far as how to cut the paper down. I knew what the actual card was going to look like because I had already done it with a 6x6, but I wanted to kind of have a way to use up our 12x12s as well. And the fact that it was a no scrap template was just a complete bonus. So if you have 12x12s, or even if you have 6x6s in your stash, this is one not only that uses quite a bit of paper, but it also, you can have it as like a no scrap template if you do it with the 12x12s. So I think these turned out super cute. Here's where I brought in some of those other cut aparts from the Simple Stories collection. You can tell like they are a little bit different. Even the color scheme is a little different, but I felt that they were all still really good Halloween colors, and I still felt that it kind of worked well. So, and then here are some that I actually made with stickers. I made those cut aparts. Look at that. And I added a full Happy Halloween because I needed to use up that sticker and I wasn't sure what to do. So I just went ahead and put it here. You can still put somebody's name and you can still sign it. So I still thought that that would work, and it's still a pocket over here, but I did make some of those. So you can see all of these final cards. And I did use all of the little like sentiment stickers and everything for these cards. You can see here like Scary Squad, I put a little bat. So I literally used up everything that was in that collection and then some, because I did bring in one extra sheet. So Professional Candy Collector, super cute. But, and I thought the colors worked okay, that they worked. And Halloween is just about having fun. And so I really like, you know, the colors and the little images and everything. And I think this card turned out really well. I hope this is one of your new favorite cards. It definitely is mine. But again, this was the I Love Halloween collection designed by Lori Whitlock, but released by Echo Park. I purchased in that warehouse sale. Make sure you take advantage of those sales. If it's something that you want to try to stock up on, you can usually get a pretty good deal. If you sign up for their text messages, you'll get usually a percentage code. That's what I did. I think I got the most recent one. I got like 20% off when I purchased. I had a code in my email. So, but I hope you got some inspiration. I hope you're enjoying this card sketch. Let me know in the comments down below if this is your new favorite card sketch as well, and if you have tried this either in 6x6 or in 12x12 version. Me personally, I think I love the 6x6 version a little bit better, only because it's a no scrap template. When I used the 6x6 pad, I did have scraps, and so the fact that I can make this and not have any scraps, I can smash through these 12x12s in an instant. So I absolutely love that. But so let me know in the comments what you think as well, and if you'll be doing this, and which one is your preferred method, the 6x6 or 12x12. Well, thank you so much, everyone. Hope you got some inspiration. And as always, happy crafting. Thanks so much for visiting, everyone. Drop me a Halloween emoji down in the comments to let me know you made it this far in the video. Happy crafting.